Welcome to Marius and the Mayors, the podcast where we wrestle with fear, inner demons, and the raw realities of life. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for many of us: morning depression. Those dark, heavy mornings when life feels meaningless. Shame creeps in, and it seems like nothing we do is ever good enough. But is it all just fear in disguise? Or maybe just a cruel trick of chemistry and sleep cycles? Let's unravel this together. Join me.
Welcome to Marius and the Mayors, the show where we explore our fears. He appreciates all likes, comments, and shares. Now please welcome to the show, Marius.
Okay folks, let's do this. So today's episode is all about morning depression. My mornings can be extremely dark at times, where I just feel like life is totally meaningless and there's this shame associated with it. Like I was supposed to do something else with my life type of shame. And no matter what I do, it's never ever gonna be good enough. This dark, hollow feeling. The contrast from the night, where I might sometimes lie awake and be terrified of dying. In the morning I might feel the total opposite and feel as if I just want to embrace the thought of death. Like life is just weird and meaningless in the mornings. Now I often speak about fear in my episodes, and that most of my emotions have something to do with fear. And I think that when we're talking about not being good enough, and that I feel that I sometimes, at least professionally, am not where I'm supposed to be, that is the fear of not being good enough. The fear of letting down a younger version of myself that had like big dreams of being a famous rapper or making animated films or video games or whatever. But then again, I have tried my hand at making rap, video games, and animated films, and I've learned from experience that that isn't necessarily fun all the time neither. So it's not like I would have automatically felt fulfilled if I did those things. That is important to remember. And sometimes it's just important to feel bad. Like sometimes you feel good if you feel bad. Is this a weird connection I've found, where if I allow myself to actually feel bad, then it doesn't feel bad, then it feels good. Self-pity can be a bad thing, it can be a terrible thing, and it can be this never-ending cycle and downward spiral. But if you don't allow yourself to feel bad, then it's just hollow. You know what I mean? Like that's just hollow positivity, trying to tell yourself stuff that you don't believe. And life is never going to be only good. Like that's never going to happen. I'm guessing that meaninglessness or fear of meaninglessness is also just a feeling that everything is fleeting, right? It's kind of that feeling that everything is meaningless is kind of a fear of nothing really mattering. And in the grand scheme of things, nothing really does. Now that can be either very freeing, that it wouldn't matter if I was like a rap star or famous painter or whatever. It wouldn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Or it can be terrifying, right? The fact that you're basically just a leaf blowing in the wind and you have no idea what's going to happen. And that is like life. And maybe the mornings make this particularly visible. But there is some science to this. Now, it's time for the Nerd Corner, where science and self-loathing collide in the most delightful way.
Nerdy Nerd Corner. Nerdy.
So here goes for the sciencey stuff, guys. Cortisol awakening response. Here's the deal. Your body's stress hormone spikes in the morning. For people with depression or anxiety, it doesn't just spike, it practically throws a rave party in your brain. That's why mornings can feel so overwhelmingly heavy. Even before you've brushed your teeth or anything, the only thing that can help is that cup of coffee and you just feel like you're a heroin addict. The next thing science has to say about this topic is circadian rhythm. disruptions. Your circadian rhythm, also known as your internal clock, regulates sleep and wake cycles. So, if you're binge watching shows or doom scrolling or playing Batman until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, you're essentially hitting snooze on your brain's ability to regulate your emotions. Science says this disruption makes mornings tougher to handle. A third thing is sleep quality and your depressions. As previously mentioned, bad sleep essentially equals bad mornings. Studies show that poor sleep quality worsens depressive symptoms. Caffeine has a very bad half-life. It takes a very long time for it to break down in your body. And trust me, I drink a lot of coffee, so I am not someone to preach about this, but maybe that's also why I'm struggling so badly. Next up, we have morning light exposure. Now, I live in Bergen. We have a lot of rain and a lot of gray weather. We don't really have all that much sunlight, but science says bright light exposure in the morning helps reset your circadian rhythm and stabilize your mood. Scientists recommend stepping outside for at least 15 minutes of morning sunlight. It doesn't really help that we're in December now where I live, which is a very dark time, and this is probably one of those times of years where I'm in my darkest moods as well, but it might actually make sense when you think about it like that. And then we have chemistry versus character. The science of depression shows that sometimes it's not your personality or mental toughness, it's just your brain chemicals being jerks when you're struggling. That's actually kind of comforting, isn't it? To think that it's just your own biology being an asshole. It doesn't have to do with you being a pussy or you being tough or not tough or being a good person or anything like that. It is chemistry. That's what it is. So now is some of the science on this subject. Science says that your dark mornings might just be a mix of hormones, habits, and let's be honest, that late night cup of coffee that you kinda know you shouldn't, but you just can't help yourself, whether that be an energy drink or whatever it is. So give yourself a break, grab some morning light, and maybe skip that late night caffeine. That's a wrap for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you'd like to support the show and access ad-free episodes, head to my Patreon. Links in the description. Prepare yourselves. The mayor is here. Part nightmare, part stand-up comic, and 100% ready to ruin my day.
Let's take a second to hear what the mayor has to share.
Hey Marion, it's your morning blues. I'm here to make you read the news and get depressed. I'm the devil dressed in red, then naked. Got you feeling so hollow and forsaken. I'll make your brain hurt when you try to work. Turn your thoughts to tumors growing as they lurk. I'll keep you here with your McDonald's coffee, while your clever mind just turns all soft and droopy. Got the morning blues or wanna read the news. It just makes you so depressed, Marius. Got the morning blues, don't wanna read the news. Makes you feel hollow inside. I'm that existential crisis in your mind, making you feel like you're running out of time. But I'll feed your ego, make it need more and more, till you're hungry, greedy, crawling on the floor. I'll keep you bordered by your syndrome lines, train you like an animal that lives in dark confined. I am your self-obsession, your cursed brain, making everything you do feel so in vain.
Shut the fuck up.